If you are an e-commerce brand owner in the health industry, let me know if this is fair enough. By the end of this video, I'll be sharing with you and equipping you with a 3-letter sales strategy that even the global luxury brands like Louis Vuitton, Christian Dior, and Coach is using on their customers, because these are the brands that are charging more, gaining the customers' trust more, and matter of fact, even selling more to the customer without having to change a single thing with their product. And how do I know this? Because I had the personal experience of having been trained directly by one of these global luxury brands, and I was able to bring it to the table of over $500,000 in LTV with my personal sales. So I'm going to be sharing you the exact sales secret that these industries don't want you to know. And the 3-letter sales strategy is CTS. It's going to stand for charge more, trust more, and sell more. And I just want to let you know, CTS, the fundamental underpinning principle backing it up, is going to be contrast principle. And before telling you what contrast principle is, I'm going to be sharing you a very classic example of contrast principle by one of my favorite books, Influence, The Psychology of Persuasion by Robert B. Cialdini. So Robert Cialdini, in the book Influence, he gives a very classic example of contrast principle. So he defines contrast principle like this. So the contrast principle is how a human mind perceives two different things when presented to us one after another. For instance, simply put, if the second thing that has been shown to us has a small difference when compared to the first stuff, our human mind is going to perceive it as a lot more drastic difference than it actually is. So one of the examples Robert Cialdini gives in from his book Influence is how he lifts a lightweight first and then he lifts a heavyweight. Now the heavyweight feels a lot more heavier than it actually is when compared to just lifting the heavyweight. This is the core principle that is going to be underpinning CTS. Let's jump right into what CT stands for. So the very first principle is going to be C, standing for charging more. So most of the people providing the service or product is undercharging because they're scared that they're going to be losing a potential sale. And this happens mainly because they're not using contrast principle for their pricing. Let me explain. When you are presenting your pricing or offer to your customers, and if they're not gasping for air, like, what? I'm not paying that. I can justify that. If you don't have the reaction, you are not pricing enough. You're undercharging them. So I'm gonna take a classic example from Robert Cialdini's book Influence, where he did research on 1,000 people, and here's what he discovered. People does not isolate numbers. We always compare numbers with everything. So when I come to you saying, if you want to start working with my marketing agency, you're going to have to pay $100,000 upfront, you're going to be like, what? I'm not going to be paying you $100,000. I can't justify that. And then I'm going to say, but for today, since you're starting off, we're going to start off with just $5,000. Now imagine if I presented the $5,000 all by itself. People are going to perceive it as way more expensive than it actually is. But since I compared $100,000 first, created a price anchoring, then I retrieve it to 5K. Now 5K seems to be a better deal and seems like a steal. That's how just contrast principle works. It's how, without changing a single thing about your product, you're going to be charging more for your customers and they're going to be more than happy to buy it from you. Let me show you how. First, start off by showing them comparison. Instead of directly showing your product's price initially, start with a higher comparison. For example, our premium supplement is worth $99 per month. And in the customer's mind, it's going to be, oh, it's very expensive. And then you're going to compare it with the other brands. But here is the other brand that is offering the same supplement for $250 per month. Now, your $99 supplement is going to be seem and feel like a steal. Secondly, use price stacking. So before revealing your product's price initially, you're going to be breaking down on what kind of value your customer is getting out of your product. For example, personalized blend, $150. Doctor approved formulation, $100. Monthly health tracking, another $100. Total worth, $350, but for today is worth $99. So now your $99 supplement is going to be perceived a lot more cheaper than the $350. It's all about contrast principle, my friends. Moving on to T, which stands for trust. So here's how you can apply this for your e-commerce brand. Number one would be to create something called as a ghost product. So ghost product is where you are going to be creating a product that is really high in price, that is unnecessary for your store, we're just gonna package this as a more expensive one, just so we can recommend this ghost product against our actual product. For example, everybody think they need a $200 detox supplement, but all you need is a $79 essential pack that is gonna give you the same benefit, but for a fraction of price. Number two was what I would like to say, use sacrificial lamb bundles. So these are bundles that we're gonna be adding on unnecessarily, just so by the end, we can remove these bundles to make our offer as appealing as possible. For example, you do not need a multi-stack vitamin that is going to give you a general health benefits. But here is a $49 essential pack vitamin that is personalized for your need for a fraction of the price. So that will be the two steps on how you can implement ghost product and contrast principle for your brand. Moving on to our last strategy, which is S. Here's where, without even having to change a single thing about your product, just by positioning your middle price right, you're going to be able to sell more. And we're going to be using a principle also known as price anchoring. Let me tell you what price anchoring is. So let's say your product or services has 3 price points: small, medium, large. Depending upon where you position your middle price, it is going to dictate or control what people are going to buy. For instance, let's say you want to push your large price products more. So what you're going to do is you're going to position your medium price very close to your large. For example, just for 10% more than the medium, you are going to get double the product. This is going to make the large one sound like a deal. So this is exactly the 3-letter strategy that even the global luxury brands are using to charge their customers more, gain their customers' trust, and sell more to their customers without making a lot of changes in their product. And if you guys would like to learn a lot more on how I use contrast principle when I had no sales experience or nothing to offer when I step into one of the global luxury brands for my job, I will link a video down below. And on that note, I would like to end this video by saying it is not about what you know, it's about what to do with what you know. Thank you very much. Cheers.